Yeah, right. Well, that's what up, guys. This is Garrett and Lincoln coming at you with part 2 of our UFC Abu Dhabi Fight Night 5 coverage, and this is our coverage of the main card. And this one, while not necessarily as exciting as how the prelim started, I think started off actually pretty well with Yusuf Zalal, excuse me, the Moroccan Devil versus Ilia Topuria, who was making his UFC debut in the UFC featherweight division. Came out and pretty much was able to just dominate Zalal the entire fight. And even though he got gassed a little bit towards the end, I mean, there were plenty of moments where he was just on top of the fight. He was on top of his performance. His wrestling was there. I mean, if we look at the stats here, 5 of 9 takedowns. I mean, that alone, I think, is what was able to just really give him that decision. Because while Zalal's volume was a little bit higher, and he got maybe a little bit of an edge in total strikes, it was the takedowns and submission attempts that really put Ilia just on top right there. Right at the tail end.
And the 5 submission attempts don't hurt either.
Mm-hmm. But then we start going into really just exciting fight after exciting fight. Honestly, we had Tom Aspinall versus Alan. How do you say this? Badeau. Alan Badeau.
Yeah, Badeau.
Yeah, from Paris,
I was looking
France.
at it too. I was like, how do you?
Yeah, it's those French words you just got to be careful of. 4 years in French, and I still struggle with it sometimes. But yeah, Tom Aspinall from Liverpool really just kind of came in, really aggressive. It's kind of like how we saw Tom Breeze come forward. It's how we saw Chris Dawkins on the prelims come forward and was able to really dodge some of the crazier shots of Alan Badeau, who was throwing, up elbows. One that barely missed him, and then he threw another spinning elbow that just glanced Aspinall's chin, but Aspinall just really powered through it, got Alan Badeau down, got that double leg right into full mount, which I was just like, oh, fuck.
He tucked his legs.
Yeah, and
he tried to throw him underneath himself.
Yeah, he turned around like he was about to throw a bowling ball and just
like a bowling ball between your legs.
Yeah, exactly.
Backwards threw down the ring.
Pretty much.
But once he got to the ground, Alan just had no answer for elbows, punches. It was kind of stopped prematurely, but he was just covering up, doing nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he wasn't intelligently defending himself. He just kind of like curled up, quit, didn't have anything left to offer. And yeah, I mean, great stoppage for Aspinall. I mean, even Aspinall we saw was not satisfied with his performance. He felt like he could have done so much more. But for what was accomplished, you have to be impressed by that. That kind of stoppage in your career. That's what people are going to be looking for. And then we moved into the middleweight division. This was a pretty much on-the-go fight as soon as it started. Another first-round finish. Marcus Perez versus Dricus Duplessis.
DDP, son.
There you go. I'm literally just gonna call him that now.
That's what they were calling him on the thing. That's what I'm. It's way easier.
Yeah.
They said it's obvious if you have a name with 3 acronyms a 3-letter acronym. If your name can be a 3-letter acronym, you're gonna do great in UFC.
Exactly.
GSP.
Hey, there you go.
GSP, RDS.
Mm-hmm. So this one was pretty competitive. I felt like at the beginning of this fight, this was really Marcus Perez's fight to lose, because he came on really, really strong. Duplessis, you could tell he had a little bit of some, not hesitation per se, but you could tell this being his UFC debut was a little jittery. There was a little bit of trepidation to some of his strikes. As the first round continued, though, he did start to get more and more into the swing of things, was able to start pressing forward a lot more like Perez was doing. Perez was doing well in the striking department. I believed that, he was coming on strong. He was doing his thing. The accuracy may not have been there, but that aggressiveness was there. But as Duplessis, like I said, continued, he was able to really start laying it on thick. Oh my God, I'm about to sneeze.
Oh no. Rona.
Shut up. Rona doesn't make you sneeze.
You don't know.
But yeah, so that basically took place. That happened, and um, I liked how he essentially came in, and Perez kind of did one of those crazy Rodriguez elbows where he kind of like laid his whole body down. He bent over, threw the elbow upwards, but not even realizing that he was putting his head in the perfect position for Duplessis to just crack him on the side of the face with a left hook right there. And it pretty much dropped Perez immediately before he was ever able to even follow through. And I thought that was crazy because he dropped, kind of posted a little bit,
And then got hit again.
and then got clocked again right on the chin, and that put him out flat. That flatlined him. So yeah, I mean, just what a great, not even really a comeback for Duplessis, but just like
it was kind of like he's one of,
put forward, and then the overcoming of that challenge.
Of course, and it's kind of like he's one of an old stick shift car. You can't just go straight into fourth gear. You gotta work your way up.
Yeah, it's a
He
good way to
started
put
slowly. Yeah, he started like he didn't go 0 to 100. He just started slowly building. And then when he saw his opportunity, he took it.
Exactly. So that was great for him. Great UFC debut. Now we start getting into the veterans of this sport. Ben Rothwell, Marcin Tybura. From the get-go, what a heavyweight, just striking boxing match.
I know the first few exchanges that was just like pop 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 pop. I was like, this is heavyweight.
Yeah. It was pretty insane. It's one of those things where I don't know how you are. I don't know how other people are. I personally find myself not underestimating Ben Rothwell, but his accolades don't get put into perspective until I start watching him fight.
Yeah. He's one of those guys that if you're just looking at pictures of him or promos and stuff, unless you see him actually working, it's different.
Exactly. And I mean, just look at the volume of strikes thrown. Almost
in a heavyweight
300
fight.
strikes. Yeah, almost 300 strikes per fighter in this bout. It's just crazy to me. And Ben Rothwell started strong. He started a little too strong, in my opinion. I think he didn't.
For sure.
At first, I thought he was doing okay with pacing himself, but I think that as the second round got to going, I think he was starting to overdo it, and Marcin Tybura was able to come out the fresher fighter in the second and third round. But Ben Rothwell, I was really surprised, came out really strong, throwing a heavy volume, just all these flurries right off the bat, and I think that's what kind of did him in. And Marcin Tybura was able to utilize great head movement. He was able to utilize just some great counter punches, and then started getting his volume going in the second and third, and really put together a lot of great combos, some good kicks to the body. I mean, Ben Rothwell had some great, uppercuts to the liver. He had some great hooks, long reaching hooks on both sides, all that clinch fighting, fighting in the phone booth, as the commentators would say. I mean, they were in it from the get-go. There was hardly a slow moment, honestly, but Ben Rothwell came to scrap. Marcin Tybura came to scrap, and I was really impressed with the performance overall. And it was right at the third round did Tybura start pulling away in terms of strikes landed, and I think the decision really got cemented for him when he secured that takedown in the third.
And then got heavy ground and pound for a minute.
Yeah. I mean, it was impressive. Ben Rothwell was still trying to fight off his back and get a submission, get that triangle, use his jiu-jitsu. It was just he was in a really disadvantageous position with his head up against the cage. There was really nowhere for him to extend or to work from, and it kind of ended up just giving Tybura that opportunity to just smash Ben even more. But it was a great competitive fight. And I really enjoyed it. It's interesting because you look at guys like Ben Rothwell, who has submitted Josh Barnett or has knocked out Alistair Overeem. I mean, he's a top tier classic veteran, and Marcin Tybura is slowly working up the ladder there. So That was great. Great performance on that. Then we had Edson Barboza versus Machwain Amirkhani. This was, at least for me, this was more of just a chance for Edson Barboza to just showcase what a dominant fighter he was
And can be.
and can be. Making the rounds in featherweight now, or at least he's trying to. Edson Barboza.
I think he looks better.
I think he does too.
I think he looks better at featherweight.
Yeah, I mean,
Because whenever he was fighting, like whenever he fought Gaethje, whenever he fought Habib, he just looked so much skinnier and smaller than them.
yeah, as lightweight as a division started to evolve around him,
Yeah.
is when I think
It kind of like left him
Yeah.
left him in the past.
Yeah, I mean, as you can see over the past few years within the lightweight division, he was not he wasn't doing that great. I'd say it kind of all started in his loss to Habib in 2017 for him, and then it kind of starts going on and off with losses to Kevin Lee, but wins over Dan Hooker, losing both times in 2019 to, of course, current interim lightweight champion Justin Gaethje, now retired Paul Felder, and then you have his loss to Dan Ige in his featherweight debut, and now finally back in the win column against.
It's been a hard life for him for a while.
Yeah, but I think now he's finally found. I don't want to say he's hit a stride yet, because we need to see that next fight in featherweight. Because for me, he had a full camp going into this bout, and then 2 weeks before, his opponents change, and he had to. I mean, that shows a level of ability, professionalism, that he was able to make whatever adjustments he needed to be able to fight an opponent who was essentially just the complete opposite of who he was training for.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, it was Edson putting on that performance that he needed to be able to showcase that he's still around, he's still relevant. I think this is a good stepping stone for him. I just need to be able to see whatever that next fight is going to be to really.
Yeah, it's kind of like when Jose went down to featherweight or bantamweight.
Yes.
He's kind of doing good, kind of not, but he's just not how he used to be.
No.
We'll see.
Even he hasn't hit his stride yet.
Yeah, Jose Aldo.
Yeah.
Or Edson. I don't know. I want to see him do good. I really do.
Yeah, me too. So that is going to lead us to the final fight of the evening. Marlon Moraes, the previous number one contender, and Corey Sandhagen, who was the previous number 4 contender in the world, 2 of the top tier bantamweights in the division. Currently, Corey Sandhagen came in and pretty much put Marlon Moraes to sleep, put him away.
Pretty much. Masterful. I'm glad that there was at least 2 spinning head kicks
Yeah.
tonight. I was glad. It's pretty great.
Yep.
And Corey Sandhagen really has very similar to Dominic Cruz. Yeah, Dominic Cruz's footwork in the bantamweight division. The way that he steps around and goes for the leg kicks and then will switch it up high all of a sudden, and just his boxing. Though he did not hit nearly as hard as Marlon Moraes could hit.
No,
but he was landing cleanly. Yeah.
The accuracy, the volume. Yeah, I really do. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I like that while watching Sandhagen, that he goes everywhere. He'll hit you in the legs. Still. He hits you in the stomach. Then he'll start jabbing you in the face a little bit. Maybe getting some knees going, some flying knees. At one point.
Yeah, he threw one in. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very versatile fighter, and like you said, Marlon Moraes he's got so much power. He's so strong, so
technical.
Yeah, I mean, even every time he was hitting Sandhagen, you saw visible damage. It did some work. It about knocked Sandhagen off his feet a couple times, and got a pretty solid takedown at the end of round 1. So it was pretty even going into round 2 for me, at least, with Sandhagen probably taking the first round a little bit just with that variety of stuff he was
Yeah.
doing. And
It's
then
more flashy, gets the judges to notice you more.
yeah, and just the overall, I mean, just being able to sit there and say, okay, I mean, he's hitting, and then he gets out. He's making Marlon miss a lot.
Hmm.
He's like, okay,
Even
Marlon,
knocking himself off his feet almost.
exactly, yeah. I mean,
Really
Marlon,
swinging.
yeah, would just come in with these big overhands, big kicks, and Sandhagen is just able to get out of the way so cleanly. That when it finally came to the finishing sequence in round 2 with Sandhagen delivering that spinning hook kick right to the dome of Moraes, and
Yeah.
Moraes kind of just going
Just clipped
immediately into
him.
survival mode. He like Sonic the Hedgehog backwards.
Yeah.
And then that just kind of, I mean, that was just done, finished.
And
I
Corey Sandhagen is just a master of like situational awareness.
mhm,
Because like he throws the spinning head kick, sees that he rolls back, immediately has the uppercut ready, and then when Mariah falls onto his back and gets into more of like a full guard, preparing to be like in a full guard position, he just pops him 2 more times. Ref steps in. It's over.
yeah,
He was just aware.
he didn't
He
make
knew
the
where he needed to
mistake.
go.
Exactly. He didn't make the mistake that a lot of fighters do where they crowd their opponent.
Hmm.
Sandhagen was able to really give Moraes the space that Sandhagen was gonna need in order to be able to land whatever finishing shots he was gonna need to land. Because if he had crowded Moraes and Moraes was able to pull Sandhagen into his guard, that was going to give Moraes that chance he was going to need in order to stay in the fight longer.
Exactly.
So it was really intelligent fighting on Corey Sandhagen's part. Intelligent finish, spectacular finish. Had it not been for Joaquin Buckley, I mean that could have been
That would have been.
the performance of the night. But yeah, so that's pretty great. Real quick, we'll just talk about the upcoming fights to look forward to. We've got this coming Saturday, Brian Ortega, and in the main event with Chan Sung Jung. That's going to be great. We can't wait to cover that, watch that. And then the next pay-per-view is going to be Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Justin Gaethje for the lightweight belt.
Oh, I can't wait to win that $20.
Yeah. So yeah, that's going to be great.
It's gonna be a great week.
Yeah. So thank you guys for checking out the coverage of the main event. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and we will definitely see you guys later. Peace.
See you guys.